All right, so we'll start with Nagahide here. Nagahide, how do you create compelling adventures or immersive story arcs that resonate with players in a science fiction setting?
That ties in with what I said before. Base it on the players. Keep the players engaged by like knowing more about their characters, right? And I also like to kind of let them guide the story by having them make more decisions as a team or individuals during the play of the game. Not so like Dungeons and Dragons. I know it's not science fiction, but they have a lot of adventure books that tend to guide the players. When it comes to my sci-fi games, because I prefer more riffs, I let the players kind of guide the direction of the campaign. I don't necessarily have a big bad guy that they have to fight and defeat like some super end of the world monster. For me, it's a science fiction survival game. That's what I'm running. If you make it to the end of the campaign,
so what do you do in those adventures? So imagine right now that somebody's watching this, like I really could use some ideas for adventures or campaigns, something to help me. Even if not looking for specific ideas, like a monster comes out of X, but what is it you do in your games? And you could mention like that you do that provides that immersion. Like how do you have a bad guy? So let's use riffs. How do you have the coalition? How do you have an MDC monster? How do you have a DB, whatever, become something that's interesting and not just a hit point pool to take down?
Okay, so coalition. We'll use coalition as the big bad guy, just because I view them as the good guys. Making them interesting and not just hit point pool. You can direct not railroad the players, but direct them to maybe work with some of the coalition. Like everybody's going to have a side of them that they don't want other people to know, like a black market. Maybe there's a coalition soldier that wants some movies or something from before the rifts, right? That's black market stuff. So okay, now you have something that the NPC wants. You have to go find it. Now you have a way of
nice simple
blackmailing that character. Yeah, something like that. Set it up that way, and then now you have a way to blackmail that character, the NPC, to gain access to something that you might need as a player inside of a coalition compound or something like that. It's use the tropes. If you have to use tropes to kind of build your campaign or your story out. So,
okay. DM James, how do you create compelling? Not compelling. I don't know what it is. There's like two words I just cannot say anymore, and one of them's compelling. There we go. How do you create compelling adventures or immersive story arcs that resonate with players in science fiction settings? So when you're doing your Traveler game, how do you just immerse them in the setting, the campaign, the game, etc.?
I thought you were going to ask me how do I make compelling characters.
Yeah, well, you kill them off. It's Traveler. You kill them off at birth. I get that, but
I find one of the things that makes a big bad guy the most interesting players is to.
I got to interrupt you. Sorry, $20 means I got to interrupt.
Yep.
Big bad guy, coalition. How dare you? For the coalition, for the emperor, for humanity. By the way, we got a couple of comments this week on some risk videos, essentially saying, "Oh, you're the coalition guys. You're the real life Nazis."
That's what I'm talking about. I got my Samus suit with rail gun ready to go.
So apparently you're a real life Nazi too, according to some of our commenters. But all right, go ahead. Sorry, but I have to interrupt when it comes to $20 super chats. Thank you.
I'm not
Lodon.
offended to interrupt whenever you want. Look at that guy too.
Yeah.
So you're immersing your players.
Okay, immersing the players. One trick that I find works wonders in any genre is to, when the players finally meet the big bad guy, as soon as it starts looking bad, have him get away, or at least try if he can. Like throw some mooks in front of him. He bells out a back window, something like that, right?
Mhm.
And then let that character become a reoccurring pain in the ass for a period of time. And eventually, when the players finally track the guy down and finally put a stake in his heart, they're going to be so freaking stoked. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Also, I always give all of my bad guys quirks. Like they're missing a tooth, they got really smelly breath, they got miscolored eyes or something. There's always like something that the players can like immediately identify with the bad guy. That's just I mean it works for me. I'm not telling anybody else how to do whatever they want to do.
That's the whole point of this is to put that advice out there so people can get different advice from Bear, from Nagahide, and from you, and take what they want or inspire them somehow.
Bless you.
Well, he turned his camera off, but not the microphone.
Really? You can still hear me?
Oh yeah. All right, so,
but I mean, that would be the main thing I would say, even if you're dealing with like lesser minions, having them have little eccentricities and quirks goes a long way towards making them memorable.
How can you make, we'll say, the setting itself, we'll say the environment of the setting, something that helps them become immersed in it? I get the idea of the bad guys that you're talking about, and throwing the mooks in the way, and that recurring thing, like, damn it, we almost had him, but not this time. But how can you use the setting itself, the environment, as part of something that immerses them in, gets in their way, helps them out, whatever?
One of the simplest things I could say that a lot of players don't do is to play in 3 dimensions. So when the players walk out into the courtyard to meet the mob boss, and he's got a couple of mooks with him, if you have a couple of snipers up on second floor roofs, that adds an entirely new dimension to the combat that's getting ready to possibly go down, because now the players have to figure out how to deal with these guys that they can't run up on unless they got jump packs or something. I don't know, but so yeah, playing with dimension with that 3rd dimension is the thing. Engage all 5 senses, beat magnet. That is an excellent bit.
It's funny, you said that at the beginning of the stream.
Yeah, no, one of the senses I love is the sense of touch when I slap the players. Really brings them into the game.
That's immersed. I'm immersed. Ow, that really hurt. Okay, roll damage.
Yeah, but yes, I did say that earlier about smell, and smell is a big one that people don't use near enough, I think.
Do you prefer episodic adventure of the week type or more of an evolving campaign?
I play sandbox.
Okay, but you can still do both in a sandbox.
Yeah, but
my timeline system of how I do campaigns over time, it's essentially a sandbox. You can do what you want, you can go where you want, but the world's going to continue to move on in a certain manner. So that's sandbox-ish, but I mean, it still has the timelines. Things are still going to happen.
Answer?
What's that?
Can I use your answer?
If that's what you do, yeah, or if you think it's a good idea.
Pretty much what I do.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I sandbox it. Of course, I keep track of what's going on in the world as a whole, but the players can wander off and if they want to sit on a stump for 3 weeks, eating iron rations. That's their problem. I mean, it'll be boring, but they can do it.
Life. I'm in for stump life.
Stump
Right? I mean, they're all like playing like secret freaking camping games or something. I don't know what they're up to. Let's go to the spaceport and camp out in the freaking weeds or something.
You had my attention. Now you have my interest, and my nipples are hard. Keep talking.
But yes, what you
just
said,
happened?
Max, is basically 100%.
Spaceport camping, Max. Pay attention to your show.
No, that's I mean, obviously I agree with you because I do that, but I consider that for me that I put that more on the campaign side. I don't like adventure of the week episodic stuff unless I'm doing something specifically tailored toward barring something that everybody can understand. Your Star Trek. If it's something like that, then I get it. Then I'm like, okay, that's fine. But usually I want something more campaign oriented, something that goes from step to step to step. Now, again, with the sandboxy side of it, sure, you can step out. And there's usually some flexibility, and when I run it, there's always some flexibility built in there, unless you keep losing, where you can do that because you want to do some side quests, you want to do some things that are different, you want to go buy a new spaceship or whatever happens to be. But I still consider that all campaign. I'm not a fan of just episodic adventure of the week stuff. Not in D&D, not in science fiction. I like things to tie together well.
Well, that's where, not to cut in, sorry guys, but that's where the reoccurring villain comes in.
That's fair.
Now, all of a sudden, what would normally be just the players running around at random, just doing whatever, becomes part of an entire storyline because somewhere out there in the world, there's a master of assassins that really wants them dead because they did something he didn't want. And, hey, there's G-Rock. I ain't seen G-Rock.
No, we're not commenting on that. We're just moving on. We're moving on past that.
So
Malachi is hilarious. Malachi, you are hilarious, sir.
So to build on that thing about what type of thing you do, Monster of the Week versus Megaplot, I firmly believe in using the X-Files system.
Okay.
Every 5th episode is conspiracy. The 4 in between are Monster of the Week. And then conspiracy. And then Monsters of the Week, and then conspiracy, and then you get creative. Sometimes a later conspiracy episode relates back to one of the Monster of the Week episodes all of a sudden, and the world just got deeper. And that's how you do it. So the players will enjoy the Monster of the Week episodes, but if you're hitting them with the conspiracy or the mega plot every damn session, they're going to get tired of it. But when it shows back up and they've had a chance to do some things, they've had a chance to go kick some ass around the Spinward marches, and they've beaten up some Vargur pirates or whatever they're doing, and then boom, the Imperium guy from the Imperium Intelligence Bureau is back, and he's got some questions for them. Shit, oh yeah, we're still in a larger world, but we're better than we were the last time we ran into this guy. We're a little more ahead of ourselves. We know who we are as characters. We've managed to establish ourselves, and now we're a little more prepared to handle this type of shit. It's a really good pacing, and it works really, really well. Now, you don't have to do 4 on 1, 4 and 5. You could do 3 and 1. You could do 2 and 4. You can do whatever setting you want. You can break it up, but the idea is to give them those Monster of the Week episodes of whatever type of game, sci-fi, that you're running, so that way when the plot does show up, they feel more competent as characters because they've done some shit and gotten some shit done without constantly dealing with the plot. At least that's my thought.
Okay.
Love it.
All right. Well, I'm going to just keep on with Bear here, and we're going to go to the last question. And that's the last question of the entire, well, unless somebody posts them, but we're in the final segment. Final question of the final segment is, and I don't even have a follow-up. I just have a note here that says, make them give specifics. So there you go. There's my follow-up question. We're going to start with Bear. Can you share an unforgettable science fiction campaign or adventure you've run or played, either one, that made it memorable, and what lessons did you learn from it?
The first time I ran Prime Directive, I had a very simple adventure for their Prime team. They had to go into the neutral zone, undercover, trying to, in a shuttle, no less, being dropped off right at the border from the main starship, to go to a planet to rescue a Federation spy who had crash landed on said planet. And the whole thing that they wound up doing was basically climbing up a goddamn mountain. It was a frozen Hoth type world, right? Climbing up a goddamn planet, finding the photon torpedo life pod that this spy was in, opening up, finding out it's a Klingon. They're like, what the hell? Like, why are we rescuing a Klingon? They're our enemies. and then getting attacked by abominable snowmen and using the pieces of the photon tube and her crash shuttle and all this shit as makeshift toboggans to go sliding down the ice to get back to their shuttle. And they were rolling dice every 100 yards or something as they were kind of willowing it and jumping over stuff and all that. And for years they just referred to those monsters as toboggans because the other guys couldn't say toboggan, which is, I don't know if you guys use that word in the States, but we use it
toboggan. Yeah.
They couldn't say toboggan for the life of them. So they kept calling it toboggans. And then the monsters became the toboggans. Remember we were on the planet of the toboggans? And it was hilarious. It stuck with them because there was a little bit of a meta plot. Why are they rescuing a Klingon? Who is she? Why is she the spy that we're here to get? And they'll never find out till later in the campaign. But it was them using their skill, their wit, and their dice to achieve the goals on their own, isolated. Oh yeah, with a Klingon dagger team hunting them at the same time. It was fun. It was a good time. All you guys who like military sci-fi, by the way, all of you guys who are into military sci-fi and you appreciate Star Trek, I highly recommend you pick up Prime Directive 1. And Max, you have the book on the shelf if you want to show it to them. The original Prime Directive, if you can find it. It is Star Trek, but in the Starfleet universe, which is what Starfleet Battles is based on. So it's more war, more espionage, more military, and less, Oompa-loompa, we must learn the Togon at the mountain with the water opening. Like, it's less of that. You can put that in, but there's mostly tons and tons of just really good small unit tactics, military stuff, and you guys would love that. I guarantee you.
What did you say it was called?
What's the
Prime Directive 1 is the original version. Prime Directive, there you have the rule book there, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So this is Prime Directive 1. There's a GURPS Prime Directive, which is ass, and there's a D20 Prime Directive, which is also ass. But though that original one, lightning in a bottle, but never caught on, sadly.
My eyes are burning. I need to drink more water. It's too hot here in Alabama. Oh. All right. So we'll move down to Nagahide. Nagahide, same thing for you. Can you share an unforgettable science fiction campaign or adventure you've run or played? What made it memorable and what lessons did you learn from it?
What made it memorable were the lessons I learned from it. All right. So one of the first Rifts campaigns that I ever ran, I decided to have the players start in North America, and the big bad guy, who they didn't know at the time was the big bad guy, asked them to collect different items from around the globe. One of them was the head of a spear, the other was a sword, and then a shield. And I used real world items.
Wait, is this Rift's Vecna?
No, I don't think so. I haven't read Vecna yet, so, and I'm not a huge Vecna fan, so I don't know much about him. The spear was the spear that killed Jesus. The sword and the shield.
Spear of Destiny of Longinus.
Yeah. And
sorry, I've used that so many times in superhero campaigns. It's like burned into my brain.
And the sword was it Alexander the Great's sword? And I can't remember who the shield was.
This is sci-fi.
Eric,
Rifts.
the Cavalier.
I said it in Rift's world.
Oh,
I
Rifts,
said it all in
I
Rift.
understand.
Yeah. So I had them traveling all over the globe. The players loved it. They got vehicles to travel over the place, and they'd run into issues where they had to solve problems and kill bad guys. But the reason it's memorable for me is the lesson I learned from it. Don't give the players everything they want, because they can go crazy bonkers with it, even if you're really good at like coming up with ways to keep them down. Some of the things that they ended up getting their hands on are things that I normally don't allow players to have in a Rift campaign. Like I don't even remember. Somebody had this crazy robot suit from one of the
But can't you just whittle that down over time? Sure, have a couple adventures where they feel powerful and like, look what we got. Well, nobody can repair it, or something. I mean, I don't know what suit it was. Maybe it is easily repaired, but I'm just saying, like,
no, it was from Rift Japan, so it wasn't easily repaired.
Oh, some temporal nonsense. Yeah, nobody's gonna be able to repair that.
Right.
You gotta.
But yeah, so that's something that I learned, and that for me, that's what made it memorable. My own lessons learned there.
Okay.
But
all right, DM James. Unforgettable science fiction campaign or adventure. What made it memorable, and what did you learn from it?
Well, it would be Frontier Space. And what I basically did is took the first little bit of Marooned Alone from Traveler and combine it with whichever the Riddick movie was, where he's trapped on the world and the two teams of bounty hunters were after him.
Third one.
And that's what I ran. And the players never figured it out. And it just worked so well. Like, I mean, I'm basing this on what the players said. For me, it was just, sitting there keeping track of things. But so what did I learn? What I said early on in the day, still everything, or be inspired by it, they had such a good time trekking 150K across an alien world in the middle of, a bunch of BS frozen, whatever, because they didn't know the planet was on an elliptical orbit and it was going to warm up. Thus also not knowing that when the planet warmed up, a bunch of killer monsters were going to come burrowing out of the ground to eat their faces. So there was a lot of surprise monsters, and stuff like that. And it was really cool. And one of the players spent half of the game working on his pet robot. And I mean, it was just, everything you want in a sci-fi game, with the engineer.
So what lessons did you get from that? Like in terms of either game mastering or things that happen with the players?
The biggest lesson I got from that is, one, don't be afraid to be inspired, because a lot of times people won't use stories or ideas that they've seen in movies and stuff because they think the players are going to catch on. But if you change it up just a little bit, they won't.
There
and
you go.
Two, it's like one thing I did in that game is there was never a dull moment. Like from the second the game started, it was like, okay, here's your characters. The game starts. You're on the bridge. You're here. You're there. You hear klaxons. Your ship gets hit by a larger pirate ship. The captain tells you to abandon ship. What do? They run and get to the things. And it was just, I just kept at them, nonstop. From the second they landed on the planet, they were freezing to death, So it's like, okay, now what do you do? So they cut up the like space blanket material that the parachute for their pod, and they start like wrapping it around them and making suits out of it, like thermal suits, and it was just nonstop, just boom, 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 right? And if any of them ever figured out it was the Riddick movie, no one ever said anything. So yeah, that's what I learned.
You made a good point there, because one of the things I used to say it a little differently. I'm going to say it the way you used to say it. I can do better than this movie. I can do better than this book. I'd have done things differently in this book. And I've actually done that a ton of times. Now, I don't run a lot of sci-fi, but I've done that a ton of times. I think that's one of the best resources out there in terms of plagiarizing, but putting your own spin on it. Is just taking, I don't like how this ended. I don't like how that character twisted here. I don't like that they went left instead of right. Whatever happens, I'm going to develop this so that we'll find out maybe there is something, a perfect opportunity for something to happen at this point. And I can't believe that the movie director didn't do that. Whatever, absolutely. I'm full on board with that.
In my opinion, the real thing that makes me think it was really good is it was supposed to be like a 1 or 2 shot, and it turned into much more.
Okay.
Including other characters that wanted to join the game. So then the original characters had to leave the little base they had found and travel like 100 kilometers to where their escape pod had landed and try to save them from the monsters. And so this thing turned into a whole thing, you know. So that's Future Space was my best sci-fi
Frontier
of
Space.
my life. Frontier Space, yeah.
Well, I've got it, and I have it on the list of games to cover, but it doesn't look like it's going to be covered until at least 2026 by us, the way I want to do it anyway. But yeah, that's definitely on my list. I do have it. I appreciate the authors in there because I love the first or the blurb that they put right at the beginning about pronoun use, and it made me I cheer.
They follow the Chicago style, or
well,
whatever.
No. Actually, they said that they don't follow any style, but they also said that they have no use for they in the singular. So I'm like, good.
Yeah, it's like,
they're not Canadistanian. So
as soon as I read that, I thought of you. Just
you
FYI.
should. I bought it for that reason. I didn't even know if the game was going to be good. But then I read it and I was like, this game actually seems fun. And then people were like, it's just Star Frontiers, right? I'm like, well, I never had Star Frontiers, so no, I didn't know that. Okay, cool. I'm glad.
And guess what? Star Frontiers was fun too. So
awesome.
So there you go.
All right.
You made a good purchase.
Do you guys have any comments for each other about the types of campaigns that they've run or that they talked about there? If you want to go back to what made compelling stories, words bad. Elsa, we got one super chat, and I think we're about ready to fade on out.
I'm already fading on out.
Anything you guys got? All right. Well, we'll go around the horn again. Let you guys sign yourselves out here. But DM James, just so folks know, came in here with like no notice. I had somebody back out before this started due to illness, and I was like, I need somebody else. DM James said, I'll do it, and so he wasn't forewarned or anything of what this whole thing is here. So thanks for popping on in here, DM James. Please hang out for a few minutes after this is over, and then.
Ready.
So
are we done? Is segment 5 come and gone?
No. We're gonna do segment 5. I'm wrapping this part up. The segment 1 through 4. I'm wrapping this up. So we're gonna go through.
Because I only come here for segment 5, sir.
I know. Well, and the after show, right? Well, segment 5, we gotta have the giveaway. I can't do that. But I'm not gonna do that here. So, DM James, as you did at the beginning, tell people who you are, where they can find you. I did finally put your information in the description of the video so people can subscribe to you there. Tell people who you are and why they should watch you, and then we're gonna move on.
I DM James. My name is James. I hang out and live stream way too much. Also, you can catch me at the James Gang. You can catch me on Twitter, but please don't, because you'll hate me if you read anything I write on Twitter. It's difficult to say anything about yourself.
Takes practice.
It really is. It's like, like me and Bruce hang out and bullshit around and paint miniatures. That's kind of what's been going on lately.
The problem is you call yourself the James Gang now, and I'll tell everybody, go check out the James Gang, and then 2 weeks from now, you're going to have a different name again.
No, I've been the James Gang for a long time. And we've even got our inner members of the James Gang.
That's a little creepy. That sounds hillbilly.
Well, I am a hillbilly. I'm from Eastern Kentucky. What do you want?
Fair enough. And
I'm directly related to Cole Younger.
I don't know who that is.
He rode with Jesse James
during
the Civil War.
All right, I'm going to go take a nap while we do the hillbilly history, and then I'll be back.
Hey, you're a hillbilly too. Shut up.
Well, no, we're going to move on from hillbilly history, and we're going to go to my Minnesota native man there, Nagahide there. So, hey, can you tell the people there what you're about and what you've got going on, please?
Lootfish.
Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Oh, hell no. Just have to eat it at church.
Nagahide, no streaming channel yet. Just dungeon master, game master, all around RPG player that loves to talk about nerdy stuff all day and every day. Yeah, that's me.
All right. And of course, We have a Bear, the Gen X GM. Let people know who you are before we sign out here. And I want to thank you all for being here again. I'm going to put up the subscribe thing while you're talking. Boop.
I am the itch in your ear. I am that little nagging part of your brain that says, do it, but do it well. I am Darkwing Duck. No, I am Bear, and I have a channel called Bear the Gen X GM. You can see that underneath my name at Bear Gen X GM. I also am the creator of Heroic, which is currently in the process of getting prepared to be released, hopefully for Christmas. And if you want more Heroic, if you've backed Heroic, you loved Heroic, you want more Heroic, join my Patreon, patreon.com/Zenith Comics, $5 a month. I've got 19 or 20 characters going up in the next 2 weeks. I've got rules discussion. I've got alternate rules. I've got theory. I've got lore. You will never find another Patreon that delivers so much material for just $5 a month. Please join. I need your money so I can make the game even more awesome. We got paid today or this week. The amount of money I lost on fees broke me. I wanted to cry.
And while Bear's crying, I will read this. This is a little teaser for the people who watch this actually a month later, because this video won't go live for a month later. It's to everyone in chat. Don't leave. It's not the end of the live stream. It go on until 10 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, that's about right. And the other 30 minutes for Max to say goodbye. Well, it's a Midwest goodbye. Yeah, I got to do that. Hey, you know what, though? If I actually stop this now, like, subscribe, share. Hope everybody has a great week. See you in the next episode, video, whatever.